Have you ever wondered how a simple piece of bread, or even a banana, turns into the fuel that lets you run a race or just focus on an exam? Well, that's exactly what we're breaking down today. We're going to get into the science of our body's go-to fuel source, carbohydrates.
All right, so let's kick things off with a puzzle that pretty much every athlete has to figure out: how to get the right kind of energy at exactly the right time.
Think about it. An athlete might grab a sweet banana right before a short sprint, but for a marathon, they're loading up on a big plate of pasta the night before. Now, they're both carbs, right? So what's the deal? This is the big question we're going to answer. And trust me, the science behind it is pretty fascinating.
To solve this whole energy puzzle, we first got to get to know the molecules at the very heart of the story, the carbohydrates themselves. Okay, so what exactly is a carbohydrate? Well, at its core, a carb is simply your body's #1 source of energy. And chemically, they're just molecules made from three things: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. You find them in all sorts of foods, from the sugary stuff to the starchy staples.
Now here's where things get really interesting, because it turns out not all carbs are created equal. They actually fall into two main groups, and understanding that difference is the key to our whole athlete puzzle.
So, on one side you have your simple carbohydrates. We just call them sugars. Think of them as tiny individual building blocks. But then, on the other side, you've got complex carbohydrates, or starches. These are like long, tangled chains made of hundreds of those simple sugars all linked together. And believe it or not, that one little difference in structure changes absolutely everything.
So where do you find these simple carbs? Well, they're usually in things that taste sweet. We're talking chocolate, honey, even the natural sugars you find in milk. They're all about that quick hit of sweetness.
And complex carbs? Oh, those are the starchy foods that really fill you up. You know, things like bread, rice, pasta, and potatoes. These are all built from those long, complex chains we were just looking at.
Okay, so we've got our two types, simple sugars and complex starches. But how does your body turn these really different structures into actual energy? Let's follow the fuel and see what happens. You know, no matter which type of carb you eat, the journey is basically the same. First, your body gets to work digesting them, breaking them all down into a simple sugar called glucose. Then, that glucose enters your bloodstream, and from there, it's delivered to all your cells as pure energy. It's a seriously efficient system.
Here's a great way to think about it. Simple carbs are like kindling for a fire. Because their molecules are already so small and simple, your body can break them down super fast. So, poof, you get this immediate, quick burst of energy, a bright flame that burns out pretty fast.
But complex carbs, those are like a big, dense log you toss on the fire. Your body has to work a lot harder, taking its time to snap apart all those long, tangled chains. And the result? A slow, steady, consistent release of energy that can last for hours. That's why you'll hear people call them slow-release carbs.
So, we've got our fast-burning kindling and our slow-burning log. Now, let's circle all the way back to our athlete and finally crack this puzzle.
And there you have it. It all makes perfect sense now, doesn't it? For that short race, the athlete needs that quick energy boost, so they grab a banana, our fast-burning kindling, for instant fuel. But for that long marathon, they need a steady supply of energy that's going to last. That's when they eat pasta, our slow-burning log. It's the perfect fueling strategy.
So just how much of this fuel are we talking about on a daily basis? Well, to put it in perspective, the World Health Organization recommends that a moderately active teenager should get about 260 grams of carbs a day. That's a decent amount, and it really shows you just how central carbohydrates are to powering, well, everything we do.
And that's really the big takeaway. This isn't just about pro athletes. It's about all of us. Whether you're about to study for a huge test and need that slow burn focus, or you're looking for a quick boost before you hit the gym, you now know how to pick the right fuel for the job. So, the question is, how are you going to power your day?